Welcome to our deep dive into Wuthering Heights.
Woo!
We're going to be exploring the full text of Emily Bronte's only novel,
All right.
a story set on the wild and windy Yorkshire moors.
Right.
Two houses,
All right.
Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange, stand in stark contrast against this dramatic landscape.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than just a love story.
Right.
It's a tale of passionate, sometimes destructive relationships spanning two generations.
What's so fascinating is that Brontë uses this setting not just as backdrop,
Right.
but as a force that shapes the characters and their relationships.
Yeah.
Like the wildness of the moors seems to mirror that untamed nature of Heathcliff,
Yeah.
while the refinement of Thrushcross Grange reflects Edgar Linton's more controlled personality.
It's as if the houses themselves become characters in the story,
Yeah.
pushing and pulling on everyone who steps inside.
Yeah.
One of the things that really struck me about this novel
Okay.
is the complexity of the characters.
Right.
Shall we start with Heathcliff and Catherine?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Heathcliff, with his mysterious origins,
Yeah.
is a dark and brooding figure fueled by this intense,
Yeah.
almost savage love for Catherine Earnshaw.
Right, and Catherine is this wild spirit
Yes.
formed between her love for Heathcliff
Mm-hmm.
and the allure of a more socially acceptable life with Edgar Linton.
Right.
It's a classic struggle
Absolutely.
between following your heart and conforming to societal expectations.
Mm.
Do you think Catherine ever truly loved Edgar?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Or was it more about what he represented?
It's difficult to say for sure.
Yeah.
Brontë doesn't give us a clear-cut answer.
Right.
On the one hand, Catherine expresses a genuine affection for Edgar, valuing his kindness and stability.
Right.
On the other hand,
Yeah.
she acknowledges that marrying him would be a betrayal of her true self.
She even says, my love for Linton is like the foliage in the woods.
Right.
Time will change it, I'm well aware, as winter changes the trees.
Yeah.
My love for Heathcliff resembles the eternal rocks beneath.
Wow, it's such a powerful image,
Yes.
suggesting a depth of feeling for Heathcliff that she simply doesn't have for Edgar.
I see your point.
Yeah.
There's definitely a sense that Catherine's love for Heathcliff is more primal, more elemental.
Yeah.
It's a force of nature that can't be denied.
Right.
But I also wonder if her decision to marry Edgar was influenced by the social pressures of the time.
Yes. That's a crucial aspect of the story.
Right.
Brontë isn't just telling a love story.
Yeah.
She's dissecting the very fabric of society, showing how class can divide and destroy.
Absolutely.
Catherine recognizes that marrying Heathcliff, an orphan with no social standing,
Right.
would be seen as a disgrace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that societal pressure plays a significant role
Right.
in shaping the tragic events that unfold. Catherine's choice sets off a chain reaction,
Yes.
fueling Heathcliff's desire for revenge,
Yeah.
and ultimately leading to a cycle of pain and retribution that impacts everyone around them.
It's like she throws a stone into a still pond.
Right. And the ripples just keep expanding outwards.
Absolutely.
Speaking of those ripples,
Yeah.
how do the other characters like Hindley and Isabella
Right?
contribute to this central conflict?
Hindley, consumed by jealousy and resentment toward Heathcliff,
Yeah.
becomes a catalyst for much of the tragedy.
Okay.
His cruelty towards Heathcliff only escalates after their father's death, pushing Heathcliff further into darkness
Right.
and fueling his desire for revenge.
And Isabella, blinded by Heathcliff's charisma,
Right.
becomes another victim
Yeah.
of his destructive nature.
Yeah.
She's drawn to the flame, but doesn't realize it will burn her.
Her story highlights the dangers of romanticizing darkness and ignoring those warning signs
Yeah.
of a toxic personality.
Right.
Like Catherine, Isabella makes a choice based on passion rather than reason.
Yeah.
And the consequences are devastating.
It's interesting how Brontë uses these supporting characters
Yeah.
to illuminate different facets of the central conflict. They're not just there to fill out the story.
Right.
They each play a crucial role in driving the narrative forward.
Yeah.
But before we get too far ahead,
Okay.
let's rewind a bit.
Right.
One of the first things that drew me into this novel
Okay.
was its unique narrative structure.
Right.
We experience the story through multiple perspectives,
Sure.
primarily those of Lockwood, the newcomer to the moors,
Okay.
and Nellie Dean, the longtime housekeeper, who's witnessed everything firsthand.
What's brilliant about this approach is that Brontë forces us to question the reliability of each narrator.
Yeah.
Lockwood, as an outsider, is initially naive and easily misled.
Right.
And Nellie, though well-intentioned, has her own biases and may not always be telling the whole truth.
Right. It's like trying to solve a puzzle
Yeah.
with pieces that don't quite fit together.
Exactly.
We have to sift through these conflicting viewpoints and piece together our own understanding of the truth.
Right.
This makes Wuthering Heights much more than just a straightforward love story.
Yeah.
It's a psychological thriller
Right.
that keeps you guessing until the very end.
Absolutely.
And speaking of twists and turns,
Oh, okay.
we can't forget about the gothic elements
Right.
that permeate the story.
Mm-hmm.
From Lockwood's terrifying dream about Catherine's ghost
Okay.
to the recurring sense of the uncanny on the moors,
Yes.
Brontë creates an atmosphere of mystery and suspense.
Absolutely.
For example, remember Lockwood's chilling encounter with Catherine's spirit at the window.
Yes.
He describes her as a little girl
Right.
with thin white face and thin white arm scratching at the glass.
Yes.
It sets the stage for the haunting presence of Catherine that will linger throughout the story.
That scene is so vividly rendered
Right.
that it sends chills down your spine.
It really does.
It's one of many moments where Brontë blurs the lines between reality and the supernatural,
Yes.
leaving the reader to question what is real and what is imagined.
And those local rumors that Heathcliff's ghost still walks the moors
Right.
adds another layer of intrigue.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the boundaries between life and death are porous in this wild and desolate landscape.
Precisely.
And this blurring of boundaries is reflected in the characters themselves.
Absolutely.
Heathcliff, for example,
Right.
is capable of both immense cruelty and deep, unwavering love.
Yeah.
It's this duality that makes him such a complex and compelling figure.
It does.
And Catherine, too, embodies that struggle
Yes.
between following her heart and conforming to societal expectations.
Right.
Her choices are heartbreaking,
Yeah.
showing how even the strongest spirits can be broken by circumstance and societal pressures.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't you say there's also a certain strength in her defiance?
Oh, yeah.
In her refusal to completely abandon her true self?
That's a fascinating observation.
Yeah.
While Catherine ultimately conforms to societal expectations by marrying Edgar,
Right.
she never fully relinquishes her passion for Heathcliff. Even in death, her spirit haunts him.
Yes.
A constant reminder of the love they shared and the choices they made.
Yeah.
Wow. It's as if Catherine's spirit becomes a symbol of both Heathcliff's longing and his guilt.
Really?
He's torn between this desire to possess her even in death
Yeah.
and his remorse for the pain he's caused.
That internal conflict really adds depth to his character. He's not just a villain driven by revenge.
Right.
He's a man tormented by the consequences of his actions.
Yes.
But what about the next generation?
Right.
How does this cycle of pain and revenge play out in the lives of their children?
Well, we see the impact most clearly in the characters of Kathy,
Okay.
Catherine and Edgar's daughter,
Yeah.
and Hareton Hindley's son. Kathy, like her mother, is full of life and spirit,
Yeah.
but she's also more compassionate and perhaps a bit naive.
Right.
She represents a glimmer of hope,
Yeah.
a chance for a new beginning.
Right.
But unfortunately, she's drawn into Heathcliff's web of manipulation.
Exactly. Heathcliff, still driven by his desire for revenge against Hindley,
Right.
uses Hareton as a pawn, denying him education and treating him with the same cruelty that he himself endured.
It's a heartbreaking parallel,
It is.
seeing Hareton suffer the same fate as Heathcliff.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that despite this harsh treatment,
Right.
Hareton doesn't become a carbon copy of Heathcliff.
That's right. There's a part of him that yearns for connection and kindness.
Yeah.
And this becomes evident when he interacts with Kathy.
Their relationship is such a beautiful contrast to the darkness that surrounds them.
It is.
It suggests that even in the aftermath of tragedy,
Right.
healing and growth are possible.
And this growth is evident in Hareton's efforts to learn to read,
Yes.
inspired by Kathy's encouragement.
Exactly.
Shows his willingness to break free from the cycle of ignorance and brutality
Mhm.
that Heathcliff has perpetuated.
It's almost as if Kathy sees a glimmer of the man Hareton could become
Yes.
and helps him unlock that potential.
I agree. Their connection highlights the transformative power of compassion and understanding.
Absolutely.
Speaking of transformation, what becomes of Heathcliff as the story progresses?
Okay.
Does his thirst for revenge ever subside?
Well, as Heathcliff gets closer to achieving his goals,
Right.
something interesting happens.
Okay.
He becomes increasingly haunted by Catherine's memory.
Mm-hmm.
Those ghostly apparitions appear more frequently,
Yeah.
as if her spirit won't let him rest.
It's like he's being consumed by the very darkness he created.
Exactly. While Heathcliff claims to be seeking revenge,
Right.
there's a part of him that's also seeking a reunion with Catherine, even if it's only in death.
It's almost Shakespearean, this idea of a man driven to madness by his own passions.
Right.
But let's talk about the ending.
Okay.
It's one of the most debated aspects of the novel.
It is.
Some see it as a tragedy, while others find a glimmer of hope.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
It's certainly an ambiguous ending, one that Brontë leaves open to interpretation.
Right.
On the one hand, we have the death of Heathcliff, a man consumed by his own demons.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we see a potential for happiness in the budding relationship between Cathy and Hareton.
I tend to lean towards the hopeful interpretation.
Okay.
The final image of Cathy and Hareton walking hand in hand toward Thrushcross Grange feels symbolic of a new beginning.
Right.
A break from the cycle of pain that has plagued Wuthering Heights for so long.
I can see that their love story offers a sense of redemption, suggesting that even in the darkest of places, hope can emerge.
Right.
And the fact that they choose to leave Wuthering Heights behind could symbolize a rejection of the past and an embrace of a brighter future.
But wouldn't you say there's also a sense of melancholy in the ending?
Absolutely.
After all, so much tragedy has occurred, so many lives have been lost.
The novel doesn't shy away from the devastating consequences of revenge and the lasting impact of trauma.
Yeah.
The ghosts of the past, both literal and figurative, linger over Wuthering Heights, serving as a reminder of the pain that has been inflicted.
It's this blend of hope and sorrow, light and darkness, that makes Wuthering Heights such a powerful and enduring story.
Absolutely.
It's a novel that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
It does.
Prompting reflection on the complexities of human nature and the enduring power of love, loss, and forgiveness.
It's a story that challenges us to confront the darker aspects of ourselves while also acknowledging the possibility of redemption.
And it makes you think about the choices we make and the lasting impact those choices can have on ourselves and those around us.
It does. If you were in Catherine's position, torn between passionate love and societal expectations, what choice would you have made? What might the outcome have been?
Wow. That's a question that really gets to the heart of the novel. It's easy to judge Catherine from our modern perspective.
Right.
But I think it's important to remember the social constraints that she was facing.
Absolutely. In the early 19th century, a woman's reputation and social standing were paramount. Choosing to marry someone like Heathcliff, who was considered beneath her social class, would have been a radical act with potentially devastating consequences.
It makes you wonder if there could have been a happy ending for Catherine and Heathcliff.
Right.
If societal norms had been different.
Yeah.
Perhaps if they had lived in a world where love and individual choice were valued above social status.
That's a fascinating thought.
Yeah.
Perhaps Brontë is subtly critiquing the rigid social structures of her time. By showing the tragic consequences of prioritizing those structures over individual happiness.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
The novel seems to be asking us to consider what truly matters in life.
Right.
Love, passion, personal fulfillment, or social acceptance, material wealth, and conformity.
And there are no easy answers. Wuthering Heights doesn't offer a simple moral lesson. Instead, it presents us with complex characters grappling with these difficult choices. And it forces us to confront those complexities within ourselves.
It's a novel that rewards multiple readings.
It does.
Each time I return to Wuthering Heights, I discover new layers of meaning, new insights into the characters and their motivations.
I completely agree. It's a work of literature that continues to resonate with readers centuries after it was written. Precisely because it grapples with these timeless themes of love, loss, revenge, and social injustice.
If you haven't already experienced the dark beauty of Wuthering Heights firsthand, I highly encourage you to seek out the full text.
Please do.
Immerse yourself in the wild and windy moors, get to know these haunting characters, and draw your own conclusions about this unforgettable story.
Until next time, keep diving deep.